Hello best learners, this is Mustafa here at Learn with Best, and today we're going to be discussing Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Law number 39, stir up waters to catch fish. In this video, I'm going to define the law for you, and then we'll look at an example from history where a person of great power used this law flawlessly. Then we'll look at an example from my very own past, and we'll end with a short story about a monkey and a wasp. Here's the law. Emotions such as anger can be strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective. If you can make your enemy angry while staying calm yourself, then you gain a decided advantage. Put your enemy off balance. Find the weak point in his vanity through which you can rattle him while you hold the strings. Once upon a time, in the late 1920s, a man named Haile Selassie, regent to the Empress, was close to achieving his goal of total control over the country of Ethiopia. He had severely weakened or outright defeated most of the Ethiopian warlords. However, there was one main obstacle still in his way: the Empress Zawditu herself, who was heir to the throne, and her husband Ras Gugsa. These two hated Selassie and wanted to get rid of him at any cost. Selassie made Gugsa the governor of a province in the north, forcing him to leave the capital away from his wife, the Empress. For many years, Gugsa played the role of loyal minion, but Selassie did not trust him. Selassie wanted to gently force Gugsa into making his play by stirring the waters. A northern tribe calling themselves the Azibu had been in rebellion against the throne. They would rob and pillage local villages for years, and Selassie allowed them willingly to grow stronger and stronger because Selassie knew that he could use them at a later point against Gugsa. So finally, when the Azibu were big enough, Selassie ordered Gugsa to lead an army against the Azibu. Gugsa agreed, but inwardly he seethed with anger and hatred, just as Selassie knew he would. Why would he have to fight the Azibu, who he had no grudge against? Instead, they should be allies, for they both hated Selassie. Gugsa started to put an army together, 35,000 strong, and they didn't march to fight the Azibu. Instead, they were coming to the capital to fight Selassie, and this is exactly what Selassie anticipated and what he really wanted. Selassie had bribed many of the generals in Gugsa's army so that they would not show up on the day of the march. The soldiers, seeing the numbers cut in half, started to desert, and as they deserted, it created a snowball effect. More and more deserted, believing the cause was not worth their lives. When Gugsa finally arrived to fight Selassie, it was with a tiny little army, and they were obliterated. Upon hearing of her husband's death, the Empress died of grief a short time later. Selassie knew that if he didn't act against Gugsa, then it would give Gugsa time to plot, and that would create a much stronger enemy than if Selassie stirred up the waters himself, forcing the enemy to play his hand. Selassie strategically used Gugsa's anger against him, defeated him, and now there was no one left in his path to complete power. This is what Robert Greene says is the essence of this law. When the waters are still, your opponents have the time and space to plot actions that they have the pleasure of initiating and controlling at their own leisure. But if you stir the waters first and force the fish to come to the surface, then you are the one who's in control. Now let's look at an example from my past where I kept a cool head. But before we do that, I need your help with YouTube's algorithm. Please smash that thumbs up button below, because if you don't, then YouTube is simply not going to show this video to anyone else. Please also subscribe and click on the bell icon, because if you don't, then again YouTube won't let you know when a new video is uploaded. And if you want to transform yourself from a lamb to a lion, then check out my course pinned in the top comment below. I will give you the tools that you need for success, but you have to actually step up and put the work in on yourself. This course is not for everyone because it requires hard work, and the majority of the population are sheep not willing to put that work in. But for those very few of us who do want to walk the path of a lion, this is the course for you. Alright, back to the video. Always remember, the angrier you get, the more control you lose. So never let your anger control you. Try to keep a cool, calm head in any situation. Keep in mind that people act and do the things that they do out of their own perception of the world, the way that they see things around them, and that perception has nothing to do with you. So when I was 31 years old, I had over 5 years of experience working in the customs brokerage industry. I had coworkers who had 30 years of experience, and we were all doing the same job. When our manager left on maternity leave, she had to pick one of us to manage the team while she was gone, and she chose me. This drove 2 of our coworkers with the aforementioned 30 years of experience absolutely wild. They were seething with anger and envy. One of the women in her 60s actually screamed at me at the top of her lungs. She was so angry, I can still see the wrinkles crackling across her large forehead. She was asking me if I knew what I was doing and if I had ever done this or that. She basically started interviewing me at the top of her lungs for the entire office to hear. And so how did I react, you may be wondering? Well, I saw an opportunity to use her anger against her. I played along and I answered all of her questions calmly, all the while knowing that I would just simply take this incident to HR and have her fired. And that's exactly what I did. I took the incident to HR and I had her fired. There were plenty of witnesses to back my claim up. The other older woman left on her own, but before she resigned, she went straight to the big guy at the top and complained to him about me. She went on and on about how I was incompetent and inexperienced and how I would lead the company to ruin and on, blah, 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 blah. The angrier she got, the more control she lost. The big guy at the top didn't care about her complaints. He let me know what she had said, and we both agreed that the team would be better off without this woman. Everything went perfectly well as the interim manager. And when the actual manager returned from her maternity leave after a few months, the transition went smoothly again. So what had happened was that the waters were stirred up by my manager going on maternity leave and leaving me in charge. The angry, envious fish rose to the surface. They were caught, they were gutted, and they were thrown away with the rest of the trash. Alright, now let's look at a fable. Once upon a time, there was a monkey enjoying a sweet, delicious pear, and an angry wasp saw the monkey eating the pear and became envious. Because you see, days earlier, the wasp had been eyeing this pear and waiting for it to ripen. The wasp threatened the monkey. He said, "If you don't put that pear down and go away right now, you will face my wrath." The monkey paid no attention and he continued to enjoy his sweet, delicious pear. The wasp got angrier and angrier, cursing the monkey out with every sort of horrible insult that he could think of. The monkey simply didn't care. He listened patiently while enjoying his sweet, delicious pear. The wasp decided that he would show the monkey who was boss, and with all of his might, he flew into the monkey and stung him with such an uncontrollable rage that he was now unable to withdraw his own stinger from the monkey's skin. The monkey didn't care. He continued enjoying his sweet, delicious pear. Now the wasp's anger turned into fear. How was he going to get himself out? He was completely stuck. In his fear, he wriggled and writhed and ended up tearing his own body in half. And with his last breath, the wasp fell from the monkey's back, bumped into a branch on his way down, and finally tumbled to the ground. The monkey simply did not care. He continued to enjoy his sweet, delicious pear. So you see, dear viewer, it's never a good idea to let your anger get the best of you. You may do or say things that you can never take back. When you are in a questionable situation, it is much better to change your perspective and understand that the people who are losing their cool are doing so not because of you, but because of the way that they perceive the world through all of their experiences, all the way from their childhood to the current moment. Alright, I hope all of those examples made sense, and I hope you gained something of value out of this video. If you like my YouTube content and you want to support me and the creation of even more content, then please check out my Patreon link pinned in the top comment below. I upload new videos once a week, every single Friday, for my Patreon subscribers that go deeper into my life regarding the 48 laws. These videos are a bit more raw and untamed than my usual videos here on YouTube. And if you're a patron of mine already, then I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's people like you that truly make all of this even possible in the first place. I hope you enjoyed this animated video on Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, Law number 39, Stir up waters to catch fish.